Welcome to This Explainer, where we're going to unpack a mindset that dictates, well, pretty much so much of what we do. Think about the world we live in today. From the literal moment we step into a kindergarten classroom all the way to the day we're scanning the Forbes 500 list, society basically screams one thing at us: strive for number one. We're completely obsessed with top schools, bestseller lists, highest earners. But what if I told you that this very obsession is actually a massive trap? Okay, let's dive right into this. That single digit, number one, it holds an absolutely incredible amount of power over our psychology. We are deeply conditioned to believe that holding that top spot is the ultimate, end-all be-all marker of success. But in reality, striving for this single digit might actually be sabotaging your true potential. It can lead you down this exhausting path of endless comparison and deep unfulfillment. It's a phenomenon we call the number one illusion. So I want you to ask yourself a serious question right now. Are you playing someone else's game? Think about the rankings or the leaderboards you're currently chasing in your career, your business, or honestly, even your personal life. Do those rankings truly reflect your own definition of success? Or are they just external metrics imposed on you by a system that doesn't actually understand your unique value? Well, to answer that, we've got to look under the hood of human psychology. Section 1. The science of the trap. Why our brains are wired for comparison. Now, we don't just do this because we're vain. It's literally hardwired into us. Decades ago, psychologist Leon Festinger highlighted this fundamental aspect of human psychology called social comparison theory. Basically, it's our basic, innate drive to evaluate ourselves by comparing our own standing to others. We do this just to understand where we fit in the world. Whether that's figuring out if we're faster than a saber-toothed tiger or just trying to outperform Steve from accounting. Rankings provide this seemingly clear, objective shortcut to assessing our value. They offer a super quick way to know who's the best or the most successful. And sure, while this can absolutely push us to achieve and innovate, if it's misunderstood, it can be incredibly destructive. Let's move to how this builds into something Katie Milkman calls ranking bias in her work on choiceology. See, this isn't just about the act of comparing. It's about how we totally misinterpret those comparisons. Ranking bias happens when we assign this vastly disproportionate value to top-ranked items while completely ignoring the subtle differences or sometimes even the superior qualities of things ranked just slightly lower. We basically get blinded by the top spot. And this brilliantly illustrates the core of the illusion. Just think about the difference between the perceived gap and the actual gap. The illusion of number one tricks our brains into believing that the distance between number one and number two is massive. But the actual gap in quality, often it's completely negligible. But because of this huge perceived gap, we make suboptimal decisions. We might choose a slightly inferior product just because it slapped a best-selling badge on the box, or we chase vanity metrics in our careers over our true values, simply because of the sheer prestige attached to that number one spot. Section 2. The cost of winning. Maya's empty victory. To truly understand the real-world impact of this trap, let's step away from the abstract psychology for a second and talk about Maya. Maya was this brilliant entrepreneur with a deep, genuine passion for sustainable fashion. And by all healthy measures, she was crushing it. Her business was growing, her customers absolutely loved her products, and she was making a real impact. But Maya got caught in the trap. She became totally obsessed with getting on a prestigious top 30 under 30 list. To her, this list wasn't just a nice-to-have bonus. She saw it as the ultimate validation. It was the definitive proof of her success. The ranking literally became the absolute goal. So, to boost her profile for this list, Maya began making some really severe trade-offs. She stopped her strategic networking and instead just started showing up at high-visibility events purely to be seen. She chased media mentions at the direct expense of actually developing her product. And honestly, worst of all, she sacrificed her sleep, her health, and deeply damaged her personal relationships. She basically threw her entire life out of balance, all just to climb this external ladder. And, well, she did it. Maya actually finally made the list. But the result was definitely not what she expected. There was this very brief, fleeting moment of euphoria. But it was almost instantly replaced by an overwhelming sense of emptiness. It was a harsh realization. She had sacrificed everything for a vanity ranking that didn't actually align with her true values or the meaningful work she originally set out to do. The ranking had completely replaced the mission. Section 3. The paradigm shift, the value-driven metric audit. So how do we avoid Maya's fate? How do we take our power back? We use a super simple yet highly effective 3-step framework to redefine your success entirely away from vanity rankings. Step 1, define your core values. What actually matters to you? Is it impact, financial freedom, creative expression, work-life balance? You have to actually write them down. Step 2, audit your current metrics. Take a hard look at what you're tracking right now. Revenue, social followers, awards, and ask, do these directly align with my core values? And finally, step 3, prioritize value-aligned metrics. You have to eliminate or at least drastically de-emphasize the metrics that fail that audit and focus your energy solely on true indicators of your success. Now, what's really interesting is looking at how this shift works in practice. If Maya had used this framework, she would have moved from an external scorecard, like that top 30 under 30 list, to an internal scorecard. She would have realized that true success for her, sustainable fashion brand, was actually measured by her customer satisfaction score or the percentage of sustainable materials she used. Now, that is a game she could win, and frankly, a game much more worth playing. Section 4. Tactical execution, breaking the ranking trap today. All right, how do you start breaking the ranking trap in your daily life, starting literally today? Here are 3 highly actionable takeaways you can use right now. First, practice strategic downward comparison. Instead of always obsessively looking up at the number 1 spot, compare your current self to your past self, or even to those who are just starting out. It fosters gratitude and gives you a much more realistic sense of progress. Second, focus on the process, not just the outcome. Zero in on the quality of your effort and your growth. If you master the process, the recognition usually follows naturally anyway. And third, cultivate that internal scorecard we just talked about. So the crucial point is this: when external pressure mounts, your internal values have to be your primary reference point. That is what builds ultimate resilience against the need for external validation. Section 5. The ultimate self-test, questioning your scoreboard. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to think about a ranking or a comparison that recently caused you stress or anxiety or just made you doubt yourself. Do you have it in your mind? Good. Now ask yourself this: did I feel a disproportionate sense of failure or inadequacy simply because I wasn't at the very top? Think back to the perceived gap versus the actual gap we discussed earlier. Were you letting the illusion of number 1 completely dictate your self-worth? Next question to ponder: did I ignore other really important aspects of my work or my life in pursuit of that ranking? Remember Maya's sacrifices. Are you currently making dangerous trade-offs with your health, your relationships, or the quality of your actual work, all just to climb a scoreboard that might not even matter? And finally, the most important question of all: would achieving that top rank truly make me feel fulfilled, or is it just an external validation? Look, understanding the number 1 illusion isn't about abandoning your ambition. Not at all. It's about redirecting that ambition toward what truly matters to you. By recognizing this trap, you can build a far more resilient, value-driven path to success. So the very next time you find yourself blindly chasing the top spot, make sure it's actually your mountain to climb.